It's rare when it happens, but it does happen when a podcast comes along that changes lives, that opens eyes, and genuinely does it to enlighten, inspire, and empower. That is what we're here to do. Welcome to EeezDrop, the podcast where we invite you to eavesdrop on unscripted, candid conversations that'll hopefully change your life. Everyone is invited to the table, regardless of your beliefs or background. We're here to discuss real-life issues that pertain to all of us, whether you're God's favorite girl or guy, or simply someone looking for insights into life's challenges and triumphs. Speaking of God's favorite girl, EeezDrop is proudly powered by GFG Evolution, a company that's all about guiding you towards your evolution. Our aim is simple, to help you find your solution through growth and evolution. We won't force our beliefs on anyone. We're here to foster community and spark evolution. We'll be joined by remarkable guests who shared their personal experiences and stories. And as you eavesdrop on these conversations, you'll find nuggets of wisdom that can help you on your own journey of growth and self-discovery. This is EeezDrop. Let's explore the reality of life together. And now your host, God's favorite girl, Olayinka Lockhart.
Welcome to EeezDrop. We're so happy to have you. Welcome to another episode where you get to eavesdrop on our conversation and you'll be shocked to see how much you learn. Listen. How's your week been? Mine has been amazing, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. EeezDrop is powered by GFG Evolution, who is the parent company to God's Favorite Girl and God's Favorite Guy nonprofit organization. In GFG Evolution, their motto is, your solution is always in your evolution. Your solution is always in your growth, no matter what it is you think you're going through. If it's a money problem, you keep on growing. Go back to school, start a business, keep on moving. You can find your solution. That's their belief. That's their motto in GFG Evolution. Your solution is always in your evolution. So keep on evolving, girl. Keep on going. Keep on moving. Keep it going. You can find it. And at the same time, welcome to God's favorite girl. God's favorite girl of women, females, girls, and women who learn to pass the test of time. Listen, we pray, we advance, we slay, and we serve. We serve our God, we serve our community, and we serve each other. You girl, you belong here, sis. Welcome to God's favorite girl. Thank you to our sponsor, Star Apple nonprofit organization, where they are their sister's keeper and they keep us on the air. Thank you, Star Apple. Thank you, Millie and them. Now, we have a very good show. Well, we always have a good show, but this guest is so exciting, right? She have a story like none other. She's going to tell us everything. I'm not even going to introduce her. I can let her introduce herself because we need to eavesdrop on her business because she has a lot for us to learn. Her name is none other than Latrell King, entrepreneur, a writer. Man, she can tell us. Latrell, welcome to EeezDrop.
Thank you for being here. It's such a pleasure to be here. My name is Latrell King, and I am an award-winning entrepreneur, award-winning scriptwriter, award-winning author, and a mom. I am a mom.
Go, girl!
So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
This is all I know about you. And this is EeezDrop. This is what I know about you. And this is EeezDrop. So we're going to let them eavesdrop on our unscripted conversation. And they'll be shocked to know what they learn. So listen, I only know that you're the lady that sold these lipstick. And I wanted to buy them only because you're a Bahamian. And I wanted to support Bahamian. I got the lipstick. The lipstick's so pretty. Everybody be asking me all the time, well, Linky, what kind of lipstick was that? No, it's not MAC. It's color. So tell us about your story. How you get into lipstick?
Well, I used to do makeup professionally some years ago, and I started to get a little bit obsessive in research of makeup and how makeup is made, and I wanted to have my own line simply because I found out some of the ingredients in makeup, the cheap preservatives, are not good for our health. And I found out that we can't excrete them and we can't digest them, so they live in our bodies and create an environment for cancer to thrive. And I was like, do I want to be healthy or pretty? I started to ask myself that question. We do all of this to enhance our natural beauty at what cost? And so I wanted to create an alternative brand pushing the agenda of a healthier, prettier you. And that's how I came up with my brand, Be Vogue at the time. I was formerly known as Be Vogue before I became Kilor. And I started with just lip gloss at the time. They were vegan, cruelty-free lip gloss. I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of the big house mega brands are now converting all of their brands to this cruelty-free initiative. They are making them more health conscious because obviously we're not going to come on and say, hey, we made a mistake for decades. We've made women sick. Scientifically speaking, factually speaking, no one is going to own up to that. So what we do in the future is we correct some of our mistakes without actually acknowledging them. And so that's why so many brands are moving towards cruelty-free, 100% vegan, and you see all of this advertisement around it. So I decided to create my own brand. It was Be Vogue at the time. Unfortunately, Be Vogue only lasted for about 4 years before I was served a cease and desist to basically go to business. I had 10 days to go to business because of a copyright infringement. So that was like a big stumbling block in my entrepreneurial journey. I had to get rid of almost 3,000 lipsticks. I had to rebrand my vending machine. I was frustrated. I was throwing a tantrum like a 2-year-old. I was like, no, I'm not starting over. I'm not starting over. I am not starting over. I was like, I already started over before. I'm not starting over again. And I had to change my name, go to business, rebrand to Kilor. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs speak about because I was served a cease and desist by a very big company that felt that I was causing consumer confusion and copyright infringement. So I was approached by some lawyers in the Bahamas. And that was the thing, the weirdest thing was they hire Bahamian lawyers to come after a Bahamian with a business license and a business bank account. And I want to tell entrepreneurs, if y'all don't do anything else, trademark your business. I learned a very hard lesson that a business license is nothing. It's nothing. It is a legal regulation passed by our government that holds no weight in the United States when we're talking about copyright infringement. It holds no weight. It doesn't matter. You need to be incorporated and you need to have a trademark. You need to protect your intellectual properties. And that's not what they're teaching us. They're teaching us to just get business license and list ourselves as sole proprietors. But that does not protect you as an asset. That does not protect my family assets. That doesn't protect my home, my car. If that lawsuit had have been successful, I would have been sued for $1 million, taking everything that I own, that Latrell owns. Incorporation is separating you from the company, separating personal asset from the company. And this is why so many businesses in the United States claim bankruptcy and nothing happens to their personal assets. Their personal lives isn't affected by the business being bankrupt. And this is something that I don't feel that it is stressed enough when teaching entrepreneurship. They give us the easy route, which is trading as Latrell King, as a sole proprietor, as opposed to being incorporated, where you are protected if there is any legal infractions that come from your business operating. So I would suggest that if you are in business, because sometimes we start business as a hobby, right? So it was a hobby at first. It was something that I just like to do. I didn't think that it would amass to what it is now or it would go global. And when you hit other person's territory, they're like, hold on, wait a minute, we see the potential. We're going to stop you right in your tracks, and we're going to teach you a hard lesson. My letter literally said, we wish you all the best in business, but under a new name. And you can't really blame big companies because they spend a lot of marketing dollars, a lot of money to legally protect their assets, their intellectual properties. And as young entrepreneurs, we are not privy to these ramifications around having a business. So I had to quickly learn that you just can't put any name on a business license. You have to do your research.
So, Latrell, let me stop you right there. You said a lot in that past 5 minutes, right? But I need you to go back. So what you just said was you had a lipstick company and a big company out of the Bahamas came for you. That's how we say they come for you, which means that they saw you as such a threat. So you was doing something huge, eh? So your business was big, your sales were great. Like take us back there.
I started immediately after I started to run ads in Nigeria, because they are big on matte lipsticks. You can see it in every movie that Nigerians are starring in. They wear matte lipsticks. So when I started to run ads in different territories, I was like a little radar on the map, like, hey, where you think you going? And my Instagram disappeared, my Facebook disappeared, and I'm trying to figure out. I didn't know why my Instagram or my Facebook disappeared.
So,
like literally disappeared.
I mean,
it was the year that I ran an ad in Nigeria.
So you were doing big business.
I was going into the Nigerian market to distribute my products.
And so your business was that big?
Yes. It was expanding that big. And then I was going into the US to place my vending machine in a mall. And I had to rebrand. I got a letter Christmas Eve. Who's even do that to people? I got a letter Christmas Eve saying, cease and desist. You have 10 days to go to business or come to court for $1 million lawsuit. I didn't even have $1 million. That was funny. That was really funny at that. I didn't even have $1 million, which I was going to take.
Wow. But what I'm stuck on is how big they saw little you. Well, I shouldn't say little you. How big they saw big you for them to feel like they needed to stop you from getting any bigger. Now that's amazing. That means you did some amazing stuff.
I only had 3,000 followers. I was telling my lawyer, I'm equivalent to a dot on the map right now. How could I cause unfair competition? How? But God. But God. But I am happy they came and they did. I am happy they came and they did, because I think a lot of times we think that the bad things are just bad, right? But what if I had $1 million? What if I was already a millionaire and they came for me? They would have taken me to the bank, right? God let some things happen before you get into where He is taking you, to protect you and to protect what you're about to come into. Because if I had continued to grow that brand to what Killoy is now, when they did come, I would have really been in a battle for my life, for my possessions, because they would have been coming after everything Latrell owns. Right? So God stopped me in infancy stages. He protected me in infancy stages by allowing that to happen, not to stop me, but to allow me to start over, right? But not that I didn't just start over. I start greater because I start with greater capacity, greater knowledge, greater intel. And so I had a better understanding of how business should operate internationally and not just into the confines of the Bahamas. So God taught me something valuable in that journey, in that time when I had to shut down and I felt like, God, this is not you because you told me to start this business. You spoke this word over my life. And now here it is. The enemy is sabotaging me, but it wasn't sabotage, it was protection. Not all the time is sabotage. Sometimes it's protection. Redirection is protection. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that.
Man, sis, you preaching. I'm trying to remember these things that you say. First you said, not starting over, starting greater. And now you say redirection is no, it's not sabotage, it's protection. Oh my gosh. Go on, sis. Finish preaching.
It's protection. And so when I was told to start over, I was having a tantrum. You know why? Because we have to learn to control our emotions. We cannot think when we are emotional. If you could get your emotional self in order, then you could think solution driven. Because there ain't no purpose in you having a pity party. What is going to come out of the pity party? Lost time? Because guess what? A distracted genius is worse than a focused fool. A distracted genius is worse than a focused fool. Because somebody who is focused could achieve more than a distracted genius. They will achieve more than you. You know why? Because they are doing the necessary steps to get there. If you are having a pity party, only thing the fool saying is, I need to go that way because she said that's the right way to go, and I follow everything that person did. Even though I'm a fool, I focus. Because what can you accomplish when you unfocus? What is it that you will accomplish being unfocused? If the devil could distract you long enough, he caused you to go backwards in time. Because plenty of us moving, but we standing still. Are you really productive or busy in one spot? I had to check myself. Are you being productive or are you just busy? Because the two can be confused. Sometimes we running, but we running in one place, and I had to learn that. We used to be running in one place, so I said, you know what? I need to pick myself back up. I need to put this bottle of emotions on the side, and I need to think about what was the lesson in all of this. What was the lesson? There's some more work that you need to do legally to protect yourself, and you need to do research. We like to go into these businesses, and we don't do any research. So I started to research. I came up with my name. I invented my name. My name did not exist on the internet. Why do you want to be likened to another company? Why do we copy so much? Why don't we create? The enemy is the enemy of deception. He can't create anything new. If we would just submit these ideas to God, he will give us something new that we are not fighting in an arena because, oh, my business sounds like her business or her business successful. No, ask God what is for you. And ask God to give you a name. And so when God gives it to you, it's protected. So I created my name, Kilor, and I created it from my son's name, Kalano. And I was like, how will I make this feminine? Because I only have all boys, and the root word was Kalano. I created this brand to help me assist with taking care of my special needs child. I knew that working a 9-to-5 traditionally was not enough to care for a special needs child. That's really why I started to find a supplementary income, which was lipsticks. So people was like, all you do is sell lipstick, all you do is post lipstick. That feeds my son. That helps me. When I was working for a traditional 9-to-5, this was something that I did on the side. And through my dedication and consistency and just posting 100 times a day, like some people may allude to, which is not far from the truth, that I was able to leave my job and to do it full time. And so that I could be a full-time mom to my 4 kids. Because you could imagine working a shift job and having 4 children and doing homework. And I was also in school full time and trying to write books and trying to write scripts and trying to own a business. It becomes a little bit heavy. So I was juggling. right? I was like those people in the circus trying not to drop the ball in any area, in personal and in professional, and also social. So I transitioned to Kilor. I took about 6 months of pity party, not moving, just tracking time, wallowing in my self pity and how the world against me, and oh, I tried this. And when I decided to, start to walk, start to exercise, sometimes we need to exercise to get our mental state back to where it needs to be. I did a lot of exercising and praying. And then I came up with a new name, and I gradually started over. But I started with, a pastor told me, you're not starting over, you're starting greater. Because experience is currency. Experience, they say relationships is currency, but experience, that's a different type of currency. Ain't nobody could give that to you. What we go through in this world is sometimes not for you, for other people, and for you to learn at an early age. No one can take your experience from you. Nobody can take your education from you. They could try to take everything else except what you know and what you've been through. Everything else is up for grabs, but what I know and what I've been through, nobody can take from me. Nobody can take it from you. And so I started Kilor in 2017, and I started from nothing, started back over with 100 lipsticks. That was all I could afford after I'd gone through all of that of throwing away inventory and not making the profit back. So I started over with 100 lipsticks. And for 1 year, I was struggling with moving them. Like, they wouldn't sell. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, Lord, you tell me start this business again. This wasn't moving. This wasn't moving. I was posting. I was being consistent. I was doing everything that they say you should do as a business, and nothing was happening, right? I was in a dry season. I don't know what type of season that was. I was in 8 months. They didn't sell. Thank God the shelf life of lipstick is 3 years. I had to throw them away. And I started to pray, and I started to fast, and I started to tithe. And because the company wasn't making anything, I tithe for what I wanted to see. I said, God, I can't tithe nothing because I ain't make nothing. So I tithe from what I wanted to see in faith. And so I started to go very biblical with God. And I was saying, you say I shall do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You said, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, plans to keep you. And I started to recite his word back to him. And he said, if you give to the poor, you lend to God. Amen. And he said, if you pay your tithes, then he will rebuke the devourer. And so I started to have these conversations with God. And I said, now, God, I'm doing what you say. I'm sowing, I'm tithing, I'm praying, I'm fasting, I'm doing right by people. And I need my business to thrive because this is the way that I supply for my family. And let me tell you, them 10,000 pieces I bought on faith was gone in 6 months after the 8 months of drought. I sold 10,000 pieces in 6 months. God spoke to me about a smarter way to do business. I went into distribution. The entire time I was trying to sell consumer to consumer, I went to B2B. I said, Lord, there must be a faster and a better way to do this. How is Mark doing it? How is Maybelline doing it? How is L'Oreal doing it? And I noticed one thing they all had in common. They were on shelves. They were not doing it by themselves. Alone, you can go fast, but together you can go far. That's a quote. I can't remember who said it, but alone you can go far, but together you can go. Alone you can go fast. Together you can go far. If we collaborate more, I can't do it alone. GFG is helping me. I'm helping GFG. We cannot. No man is an island. I had to learn that I need people to help me, to expand, to open their doors for me, to build mutually beneficial relationships in the process. And the more I started to share my story and build relationships first, business became easier. I started to build relationships with my clients who would tell their favorite beauty supply stores, why you don't have this brand? And then I would get a call and say, someone come in the store and ask me why I don't have this brand. And I would get a call from another distributor who said, oh, this lady who owns this told me your lipsticks are moving. I want to try them. And business became easier when I was in alignment with God. So sometimes the blessing don't come until we align spiritually. Because if the devil's fighting you, only person who can help you is God. You gotta align your business spiritually and physically. This is a spiritual battle we in. Not everything is at face value. Sometimes you get spirit of delay, spirit of sabotage, spirit of setback, spirit of all these poverty fighting you. So many things are fighting you and you don't know. And we think it's just I'm not good enough, or I'm not doing what I should do as a business owner. But sometimes it's spiritual. Sometimes you got to take your business to God and you got to leave that on the altar and you got to pray. And so when I started to do that, I got in one store. The hardest store to get in was my first store. Oh my God. I got 13 rejections before I even got my product on shelves. After that first store, it's like the second store came, then the third store came. Before I knew it, I was at 15. I am rejecting stores now, putting them on pending status because I don't have the supply. So now my demand has exceeded my supply. That's where I'm at now. I can't even supply Amazon, and I'm on Amazon, and all of the colors are sold out because it's like, Lord, okay, we getting the stores now. I need more lipstick. Like I need 10,000 lipsticks. I need 100,000 at this point. I need 100,000 lipsticks. This is how God will expand you when you are obedient and when you give and when you sow and when you pray and when you apply the principles of God to your business. This is how God is going to expand you. He said he shall do exceedingly abundantly above all we could ever ask or think. And he is surely doing that in my life. I am a living testimony. Like she said, every time she look on the internet, she sees something else. But I just want to say my business is expanding. It is. You can find it at 26 important beauty supply stores locally. We're trying to get in Lowe's, so y'all tag Lowe's. We're trying to get in Lowe's. I can share my dream with y'all, so y'all can help me bring this to pass. I pray somebody from Lowe's is watching it. I'm trying to get into Lowe's, but we are currently at Omorphia. We are at Carmen's Beauty Supply Store. We are at Ageless Beauty Supplies, Bahama Dimes, Hair Granite all the way in Canada. We are also at so many beauty supplies. Be You Beautiful. We are in Abaco. We are in almost every family island. We're looking for Bimini. Bimini, we're looking for you. Freeport, we're looking for you. We're supposed to go into Ashes Beauty Law from Freeport. It's just so much going on at once. And adding to that, I also wear another hat. I am a writer. I have 3 best-selling books, a total of 7 on Amazon. And I recently adapted my book to a screenplay. I've been working on that since 2018. I wasn't successful in 2018 in any of the competitions that I submitted in, but I finally won after 16 years of working on this, after toiling and praying and believing that though the vision tarry, it shall come to pass at the appointed time.
Look at God.
Let me tell y'all, I won the Christian Film Festival. How ironic, after I aligned my whole life with God, I won the Christian Film Festival, Best Script, Best Writer, and Best Script Fan Favorite. Not even a week later, I got notification that I placed as a finalist in the Los Angeles Film Festival. Hey, listen, I win. I don't care what they say. They call me a finalist, but I win. To even be selected out of 600, the top 50. Listen, my film, my movie.
I love it.
Is top 1% in my genre right now. Top 1% of over 20,000 projects. Listen to me. Only God. Wow. I won the grand prize for the Indie Vegas Film Festival for my script in Vegas. I won that. I got finalist at the Cambridge Film Festival out of 539 submissions.
Oh,
listen.
You talking to us like we know what you're talking about. So what is the script? What did you write? Is it your story? What is it?
So I was in an accident when I was 18 with my infant son. He was 7 weeks at the time. My mom was driving and it was 12 a.m. in the morning. I had just came from work. She had to pick me up and we were hit by an S10 grain truck. We'll never forget it. All we saw was lights coming towards us. And it was a hit and run accident. The guys actually jumped out of the vehicle, fled the scene because they were being chased by a police car. They were involved in an armed robbery. And so as a result of that accident, my son is now diagnosed with cerebral palsy. He was born normal. He doesn't walk or talk or do anything independently for himself. This happened 15 years ago, March 24, 2009. And I wanted to give my son a voice. But adding to that, I went to a church when I was 18, and I had my son in my hand. He still had his bandage on his head. This prophetess was able to tell me the name of the doctor that operated on my son. And I was like, no way she could have known that. Flesh and blood didn't reveal that to you. And I was visiting this church, and she told me, you ask God why this happened to you, and God says to tell you for his glory to be revealed. And she told me that I would later write a book that would be Amazon bestseller, and I would write a movie. I would have a movie. And I was 17. I was 18. I was like, I don't know what this woman's talking about. Me write a book, me be Amazon bestseller, New York Times bestseller, and have a movie. Yeah, that was a little far-fetched for me. I was only 18. I had never encountered prophecy as yet. And so I was only a teen asking God, why you do this to me? And so I dropped the ball. Like, I even forgot that. That went like this. And I just remember her saying God would heal my son. And he did get healed of his injuries from the accident. As she said, he did get the feeding tube and he did eat by mouth. Everything that she told me came to pass. It was not until 2016 I remembered that word from 2009. And I said, Lord, I want to write a book. See, because sometimes when we get a prophecy or a word from God, or God tells us something, it's not for that time as yet. Sometimes it's futuristically and we can't see it. I couldn't see it then. So it was not until 2016 that I wrote my book. And I wrote my book on a phone, on a cell phone, with no laptop. I stopped making excuses. I was like, people write books all the time. I wrote it on my cell phone. I self-published it. I didn't have an editor. I didn't have nobody to proofread it. I just published it because I wanted to share my story. I felt like I was hurting internally and I couldn't vocalize it to anyone, but I could write it down. Because every time I talk about it, I'm so happy I'm at a place now. I don't just start crying, because every time I talked about it, I would start crying where my sentences would be chopped and I won't be able to articulate it well. And so I started with writing it down. I didn't have any structure. The chapters probably wouldn't even make sense to me now, knowing all I know about literacy now. But it was like a outlet, right? It was my testimony. I think it could have helped somebody. And I published it to Amazon. It didn't become bestseller. I was like, wow, she said it's going to be bestseller. That didn't happen. But I still did what she said. I became bestseller in 2019. 3 years later. 3 years later, I became bestseller. And then it was like, this other pastor reminded me, hey, you're going to write a script. And I'm like, so now God, let me write a movie. And I didn't go to any school. And I wanted to go to school. I wanted to go to the New York Film Academy. But I had 3 kids. Where was I really going? Right? I didn't have anybody. I wouldn't say I didn't have anybody, but my husband and my mom was already taking care of my disabled child while I would work. So it was like the strain would have been so significant at the time. And then I got pregnant with my 4th child. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to New York Film Academy right now. I'm not going to school for scripts. And so I started to read scripts, just read them in my spare time. Honestly, I probably got through 2 because I was like, what in the world is this? Because the structuring is different. It isn't like writing a novel. So fast forward, I went to God. I said, God, you're going to have to help me write the script. I read it, but I really don't quite grasp the technical part of it. I get writing, I can write, but I want to make sure it's grammatically correct and it's structured properly. So I submitted it into Film Festival, Los Angeles Film Festival in 2018. I didn't place. They gave me a lot of feedback. I rewrote it again, didn't place, got a lot of feedback. And I rewrote it 5 times before I placed in the Los Angeles Film Festival this year as a finalist. So if you don't understand, the movies that you see on TV, they are in written form before they come to life. We have screenwriters and screenplay writers in the industry that write the films. This is what they see in their mind. And then we have cinematographers and producers and production companies that bring this to life, that go and cast the actors that you described in your script. So in order for a movie to happen, there must first be a script. So to adapt a movie, you have to have either a novel, a script, or you just have to know somebody that's willing to listen to your story and they kind of write it for you. I didn't have either. So I wrote the book and I wrote the script, and I was like, God, ain't no way they can miss me now. Like, I have all two that I need to have this movie. And so obviously I live in the Bahamas, so I don't have a lot of credibility as yet as a writer. So to get some credibility as a writer, I have to place in these film festivals and these screenplay festivals and script festivals, because this brings credibility to my writing, because I'm not an acclaimed writer in the US, right? So I started this journey to get some feedback on my script to see if this is fitting for cinema, like if it's ready for cinema. So it was exciting to see that although I'm in the school, this is right. The Holy Spirit did not lead me astray. Everything he told me to write, and even the structure, it's correct. It stands internationally against some of the best scriptwriters in the world. So to win, I was like, movie deal. That's why I was just like, all right, our movie deal coming now. I was excited. I was like, okay, we one step closer to getting this movie. So I guess persons who in the creative arts industry understand my excitement, because it's really hard to write a script. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it 1,000. It's really hard because you write in how they look, how they're feeling, every emotion, every action they do, the setting of the screen. Like, you have to all see it in your mind. But it was easy to do because I'd been through it, right? It just cost me to relive what already happened and to write that in a way that when you pick it up, you could see my story before it's even made. So that's what it is. It's a movie, but in its written form before we cast. So I'm in pre-production, they call it. Pre-production is when the script is done. We're going to go to casting, and we're going to go start scouting locations and to bring the film to full fruition. So it's called pre-production.
Wow, that's amazing. So congratulations on all of that. That's amazing. And we are here to lift your hands up. And we know you're bringing home every goal. Every goal. We can say first scene on
GFG. We're seeing on GFG.
But I am more interested in telling this story. Yes. I'm more interested in you telling your story about your. So you said you had a baby, a young baby, 7 months, you were 7 weeks, and you were in an accident, and that rendered him ill. Well, disabled?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yes, that rendered him disabled.
So you took those lemons, you make a movie.
I make it lemonade. I did, and I wanted to show what power there is in this living God. That God is not dead. He is very much alive and very much involved in everything that we have been through. I had to learn in that season when my child was hospitalized for 14 days that many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord God delivers us from them all. And I felt afflicted. And I also learned in that time, and it's in the script as well, even the prayer that I said to God, and I said to God when I was 18, I would never forget it. I said, God, how did you allow this to happen to me? Because I knew that God permitted it, right? He could have stopped it. Why did you allow this to happen to me? What did I do? I went to God as if I had done something so bad to warrant the hand that I was dealt in life. Like, did I steal from the church? I asked God, did I steal from the church? Did I lie too much when I used to tell my mom I was doing my homework and I didn't? Did I lie and sneak out to go to parties in the club as a teenager? Is this my punishment? because my mommy didn't catch me. Is God punishing me? And this is what I said to God. I need to understand. And even in that moment, I still didn't understand why bad things happen to good people. I didn't understand that. But then I learned about Joseph a long time after that. And he was thrown in the pit for doing what? For sharing his dreams?
Goodness.
What did Job do? Right? Job was an upright man before God. The devil went to God and say, hey, let's try him and see if he still serves you, if he still preserves that pure heart that he had. And I didn't know that at the time. I was only 18. I was questioning God left, right, and center. And I said, God, you know what? If I give you my life, you have to save my son. If I decide at 18 that I can serve you and trust you, I need you to save my son. But guess what? I had to learn. God have a sense of humor. I didn't say, God, let my son come out of this well and healthy. I said, God, if you save my son. And he did. But that came with medical conditions. We have to be, they say right division and make it clean. You have to be exact when you asking God for things. It's like we rush and we say, God, I just want a house. And then he send you a pass down. You didn't say you want a brand new house. Like, why you mad at God? He gave you what you asked for. I only asked God to save my son. Then I had to continually ask God to deliver him from this, to deliver him from the feeding tube. God, please allow my son to eat like normal kids. Allow him to have normal food. My son was on Pediasure for almost a year through a feeding tube. And that's not what I prayed for. But is it? But God said, but is it? You told me to save your son, and I did. What do you need from me now, daughter? Lord, I need you to take him off this feeding tube. This is too expensive. It was very expensive. I said, Lord, if you don't take him off the feeding tube and let him eat normally, then I need you to send help to afford this Pediasure. I was working a minimum wage job, $200 a week, spending $50 every 4 days on Pediasure. It was hard. It was hard. And then people look at our lives today, and there's so much jealousy and envy and hate for you seeing a success, but you don't know the journey. You don't know the tears and the sacrifices and the millions that have been spent as a result of this accident. And no one was brought to justice. Nobody. For a whole year, I was told I wasn't even in an accident. There was no record of my accident in the system, which delayed the help that my son could have gotten at the time, because the insurance company refused to cover some of the medical expenses. I guarantee now. And it's because law enforcement didn't do what they're supposed to do.
Wow.
So I was in a
this deep, and we coming up on this hour.
But all that is just a part of my story.
We need to get you on
a part of my story. But listen, God is awesome. We give God all the glory from where I have came from to where I am now. Amen. Because the focus isn't on what the enemy did. It is what God is currently doing. And he is a deliverer. Yes. And he is a man of his word. His word shall not return unto him void. So I'm grateful now to be making this movie that will change lives. It is a faith-based film. So it has Christian elements, because that is what I truly went through. I had to find God when my son was in this accident. This accident was a life-altering accident, and it was only God. This is my testimony. They said we overcome by our testimony and by the blood of the Lamb. So I created this story, and I wrote this script to share my testimony in the form of a movie, because it's a little bit more entertaining and captivating for persons to see the visuals of what really happened. So that's really why I'm on this journey now.
Listen, Latrell, this is just so amazing, especially great for Mother's Day. I want you to tell us, though, A Mother's Tragedy is the name of the book, and the name of the movie is also going to be A Mother's Tragedy. How do we get a sneak preview?
So A Mother's Tragedy is the name of the book. It's on Amazon. And then the name of the movie is A Mother's Tragedy, the Kelano Capron story. There will be some visuals soon, so persons can kind of see. But I did submit a little bit of documentaries on the internet so far, documenting the journey from script to movie. So there will be some visuals releasing soon. That's all I can say. There will be
I
visuals
am so
releasing
excited.
soon.
I am so excited. I'm so yes. I am so
But
happy
I
for
would
you.
encourage you to go and buy the
Congratulations.
book. Pardon me?
We will do that. I said, I am so excited and I'm so happy for you. And congratulations now, because we
Thank
know you
you.
go in
Thank you.
places.
We go in
And we go
places.
in to buy that book off Amazon.
Yes, please buy the book on Amazon. This does help the movie and show the need for it in the world. So our rating on Amazon does help us. So I would encourage everyone to purchase the book. It's called A Mother's Tragedy by Latrell King. And I will share it on my platform this week as well. So I pray that you support me and my son on this journey. But I really want to
Well,
do
of
this
course.
just to give my son testimony, a voice in the world, because I felt like he won't educationally give to this world in any way. He won't get. I won't say he won't. Right now, he's not a doctor, or he doesn't do anything career wise. So I wanted him to at least leave something on this earth, a legacy, something to be remembered
That's
by, that I can always remember
powerful.
my son by.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So, yeah, he can't be the doctor, but his story can help heal some people. Yeah,
Yes, yes. His
yeah,
story can help a mother now going through similar situations as I did.
yeah. So, just before we end, we got in 5 minutes, I want to show you something. So, this is what God has been
Okay.
dealing with me, right? This is what God showed me. Raising Sarah's daughter. First Peter 3 and 6
Mhm.
says, like Sarah, who obeyed Abraham and called him her Lord, you are Sarah's daughters if you do what is right and do not give way to fear. And so we are all Sarah's daughters, right? We're the seed of Abraham. We're Sarah's daughters. But if you look at this visual, right, in the background, we see that little girl crying. She's the
Mhm.
little one, and the person holding her hand or touching her hand is her older self. And we usually grow up and we're looking all good. We put on our color lipstick, but the little girl inside us
Mhm.
is completely crying, devastated, traumatized. And then in the front, we have our GFG, that's God's favorite girl. She's in the mirror and she's looking at her older selves, and they're giving each other high fives and saying, look, I'm proud of who you became. I want you to tell me, what does this, give me your revelation of this. Give me your take on this. How does this inspire you or make you feel? In 2 minutes.
So this inspires me in a sense that even just as early as last week, I looked myself in the mirror and I told myself that I am proud of you. I am very honored to have been you, the little version, and I am happy to see what God has done. And we have to sometimes look at ourselves and say, you know what you've been through and you know what you have survived. And the little me need to say, it's okay now. We have healed from this. We are now overcomers of this. The pain was purposeful. That's what I told myself. It was necessary for us to become what we are today. I told myself this was necessary for God's glory to be revealed. It was necessary. And I told my younger self that I am proud of who you became, of the woman of God you are today. That is what I told myself. So looking at that just now, I was like, wow, wow. It is so powerful when the younger you stops
So tell
crying.
me, oh, so tell me, you are not the one in the background, but you are the girl in the front, in the mirror.
I'm the girl in the front. I'm the girl in the front.
Mm,
He has turned my tears into
I'm so
joy.
pleased. Oh, that's so good. Oh my gosh, it has been such a pleasure talking to you. This internet was acting the fool, but guess what? Your voice has been heard and God has been glorified, and He will be glorified from this conversation. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We're going to do this again, and we are rooting for you, girl. Look here, every time we see you on the internet, we rooting for you. We're going to buy our books. We're going to buy our lipsticks. And we can support the brand. We can support the thing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it was indeed a pleasure to share my testimony a little bit.
Thank you. So, ladies, that was Latrell King. We appreciate her words. And we're going to have her back, man, because that's 50 minutes ain't enough for her to share the story. But we're going to have her back on. Thank you once again, Latrell.
My pleasure.
And stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned for another episode of EeezDrop coming next.
You've been eavesdropping on EeezDrop, and we appreciate it. You've been listening to unscripted, candid conversations, and we truly hope it's helped to change your life. We never force our beliefs on anyone. We're here to foster connections and spark evolution, and we hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at God's Favorite Girl, on Instagram and Facebook at GFG Evolution, and the website at godsfavoritegirl.org. See you next time on EeezDrop. You've been